We exist. Can we hear me alright? I just want to make sure it's using the right mic since it likes to not. So audio hopefully isn't shit today, like it has been lately. My rubber came in. So today we're going to be updating the feet paws, because these are where we're currently at with them. I need to adjust the stuffing in the toes for these ones because they got a little sad looking. So they need a bit more stuffing. And then I need to shave the bottoms of the feet, but we're still waiting on the clippers. They are finally getting close, so hopefully in the next couple of days I'll be able to actually finish the feet paws and the bodysuit and all that, because that's kind of important. But the plan is to put this rubber on the bottom of these feet for some extra traction. So for now we gotta cut out a bazillion pieces, because we're only doing the beans. Hi, Quinn! How's it going? My laptop is so loud. I need it to chill. There we go. Just blasting the music. I got new rubber for the feetses. And scissors probably aren't the best way to cut through this, but it's probably also better than dulling a box cutter blade, I think. I don't actually know what the better solution is. So we're kind of just working with what we got. I am also not sure if I'm going to have enough E6000, because this is what I have left in my tube that I just bought. Whoopsies. So we'll see. We'll find out. I might have to buy more. It's going as good as it can be. I'm exhausted because I'm practically been up since 3 a.m. Aww. That sucks. It always sucks whenever you're kept up all night. I woke up stupid early today for like no reason, which sucks because I'm also tired, but not nearly as early as that. That fucking sucks, man. Hopefully tonight you'll get some better sleep. Yeah, I'm sure. But yeah. Now these aren't the bestest shaped beans I've ever done. I'm not a big fan of this paw pad shape. It's kind of sad, honestly. Like, it's not the best shape for a paw pad, but I'll update it one of these days. Someday I'll redraw the main bean, because I like the toes. The way the toe beans look on the bottoms of these feet is great. And I find that generally this paw pad works well because it's so long, that it works well for the bottom of the foot. I just don't like the overall shape of it. Like, I feel like the top is not rounded enough. The bottom doesn't have enough of a curve, you know, like a curve to it. I just don't like the shape itself, but that's future me's problem. Current me is just trying to figure out if this is even realistically worth doing. So, you know, we're gonna find out, I suppose. There we go. Because I would like to offer this as an extra on fursuits, because walking in the snow sucks, you know. I woke up at 3 a.m. feeling as if my back was broken and throwing up every now and then. I fainted last episode too. Gonna drop Luna off at work and then go to get my back checked out because this isn't normal scoliosis pain. Yeah, definitely get that looked at. Good lord. Have you... Because I know we were talking the other day about you taking any sort of pain meds like ibuprofen for it. Not necessarily for that, but, you know, in general, for stuff and things. One bean. Forest Bud, what are you doing over there? Being a weirdo. I will say cutting circular shapes out of this rubber is not easy, because the rubber doesn't want to flex as much as I'd like for cutting. Which, I mean, I feel like is kind of a given. Upside, because of the pattern on the bottom, it still just looks like a really nice oval, even though it's not a really nice oval. Hi, Jay! Oh. We'll definitely go see what the doctors have to say about it, because if it's that bad, it should definitely be looked at. The rubber came into JJ. I'm about to be the most skedaddly fursuiter on the planet. I'm gonna have so much fucking traction, it's not even funny. It's hilarious. You guys think I could run well in patch? Just you wait. Just you wait until I have traction. I will be the deviant hunter. I don't know if I have enough. Oh my god. Ugh. I will say that it currently smells like an auto body shop. Because this rubber smells like rubber, I can tell you that for a fact. It smells so much like fucking rubber. So chemically smelling. And it's all up in my face. Like, it just smells like I'm inhaling a tire. Which, to be fair, I mean, I don't know that there's really much of a difference between tire rubber and shoe rubber. This is shoe rubber. So, you know. I know my back isn't broken, but the pain was unbearable. It brought me to tears, but pain never does. Oh, buddy. Definitely get that looked at. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Better safe than sorry. If it is something wrong, then you'll know, you know. Oh. So many beans. Oh. There we go. I am a little sad. I think it would be so. I'm a little sad because there's not a whole lot of rubber options out there, right? But you know what I think would be fucking adorable? Is if instead of this, so I can show you real quick, we've got kind of this, like, wave pattern on our rubber. There's a couple different patterns you can find. There's, like, some hexagonal ones. There's some, like, just straight lines. There's, you know, the normal, like, shoe bumps, you know, square type deal. This is like tire tread kind of pattern. You know, it's a ziggy-zaggy wave pattern. I think it'd be fucking adorable if it was just oops all paw prints. You know? Like just little toe beans everywhere. But it probably wouldn't have as much good traction because it'd be an inconsistent pattern. And the little pieces would probably get torn off real easy. But it would be cute! It'd be fucking adorable. So, you know. I'm gonna have to organize these beans because there are 2 different bean shapes. Which is why I numbered the beans, thank God. Because they are slightly different in shape. Wow, PayPal. That was a weird pop-up. Escape plans calling? Pay in 4, they say. That is a pop-up I got from the PayPal app. Which, like, I mean, I guess... good for PayPal. I mean, we see where they stand. But holy fuck, the fact that PayPal even has that as an idea, you know? Like, even the banks are like, hey, you want to get out of the country? We'll help you leave. It's kind of sad. Like, that shouldn't be a thing, you know? But also, they're just advertising they're paying for interest-free payments or whatever it is. I don't know. Hate to tell you, PayPal, even if I could pay in multiple payments, I cannot afford to leave the country. Can literally not. I can't afford to go to the gas station down the street, much less leave the country. Oh. Very interesting pop. I just put on my back brace, didn't have it on this whole time because it would press into my stomach, made me feel more sick, and I feel slightly better. Well, that's good if it's helping then, at least. Anyways, rubber. We are cutting rubber chunks into beans. And I did try to, like, line them up as close together as possible to have as little waste as possible, because this is one of those things where I don't need, like, a seam allowance. I just need the shape. Some areas I did better than others. This area I did shit in. There's so much wasted space right here in particular. Which kind of sucks, because if I had lined it up a lot nicer, I probably could have fit an entire other toe bean on that amount of rubber. But, you know, there's some things, like the corners, that I obviously can't, you know, do anything about. It's a corner, and these are round pieces. So, doing the best we got, but... Sorry, I'm trimming a circle, and it's taking a lot more focus than it should to trim a circle out. There we go. Brain hole. My brain is gone, I don't have one. I'm almost done with one of Glacius's commissions. Glacius? I don't actually know how to pronounce that. I know him as Mustard. I got the coloring done on the character, and I just have the cinnamon roll done. Oh yeah, I saw you were working. I saw you posted that in the group chat. It's looking so freaking good, man. Dude, your art, just like as a whole, has gotten so much better so quick in like the last year alone. Like, don't get me wrong. I've always liked your art. Eventually, I will commission you when I'm not so fucking broke. It is going to happen. But the amount of improvement in your art in like the last year has been like, it went from like 0 to 1,000, just all of a sudden you're like, hey, look, art, and I'm like, holy shit, why can't my art improve that quickly? Although, to be fair, I do not draw that often at all. I very rarely draw, which sucks, but, you know, I don't have the time to draw as much as I'd like. And I kind of draw the same, like, two things, you know, like, I draw a headshot facing the same way most of the time. It's usually, like, a 3/4 to the left view or a front view, and that's it. And then occasionally I draw a reference sheet. But, like, outside of that, I don't draw a whole lot. So trying to draw, like, characters doing things, not my strong suit. Not my strong suit. I'm doing this commission on my iPad. Yeah, so I don't do a whole lot of traditional anymore, honestly. Like, a lot of, God knows if I tried doing a traditional drawing, it would look like shit. Just because almost all of my commissions anymore are digital whether it's a physical commission or not. I draw it on my tablet and then print it off if it needs to be a physical badge. Just because I like... First off, when I draw, I've never been good at coloring things in, ever. No matter what I use, painting, markers, whatever. If I draw a sketch, it looks great. As soon as I color it, it looks like shit. Like, just, that's the way it is. So it's like, fuck, you know? But also, like, the amount of erasing and shit I do, like, it scuffs up the paper, and then it looks bad. So unless it's a silly little doodle, I'm better off doing it digitally, you know, and then printing it off, because I'll get nice bright colors. It doesn't look like shit. I'm not gonna ruin a drawing if I color it, like... So I really prefer doing digital, because there's a lot more room for drawing errors, and God knows I have a lot of them. So I like the undo button. The undo button is my best friend. Erasers are nice, but the undo button is better. I also cannot do characters facing to the right. I very rarely do a character facing to the right. And usually, I draw them to the left and then flip it. Make it look good at the right. Because, God, I cannot draw right-facing characters well for the life of me. I am a lefty, and I think it's just because I'm right-handed, you know? So if I'm drawing someone facing to the left, I'm not covering as much of their face. You know, the part that you see the most of. And that just makes life a lot easier. Little tiny rubber piece. Little tiny rubber pieces. Oh! Don't forget to check in, guys. We're still doing that test to see how it affects things on Twitch and how it counts viewers. Because I want to know. I want to know if it changes. If people just pop in and do their little stream check-in at the beginning of stream whenever they get in. Because I have a feeling that it's really not counting people. Like it frequently tells me that I have 0 viewers, even though I know you guys are here. Like, we all know Quinn's here. Quinn's talking up a storm. But it'll be like, oh yeah, you had 0 viewers today. And it's like, you said during stream at one point I had like 11 people in chat, so... Twitch makes no sense sometimes. It does what it wants. So we're just gonna see. We're gonna see if that helps and changes anything. It might. I doubt it, but it might. Alright, we got all our Bainsies cut out and our scrap rubber. I don't know what to do with the scrap rubber, because, I mean, I'll probably just toss it. I hate making waste, right? Like, I hate having a waste product from my materials, but it's kind of unavoidable. You know, like, there's going to be some waste, and there's some stuff that I just can't reuse, no matter how hard I try. So, I gotta organize these. That's 4s, that's 3s, that's 1s, that's 2s. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 4, 1, 1, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3. There we go. Alright. All of our Beansies are organized. There are a lot of each because I do have 4 paws, so that's 16 toes. And since I put my paw pattern away, I kind of need the paw pattern. Because I need to score up all of my rubber pieces and the foam to make sure that everybody is kind of where it needs to be. And that'll help it adhere when I go to glue everything too. So we're gonna try to give these fuckers the best shot possible at staying. Oh well, I guess it doesn't really matter if the whole thing is not it, but I'm just gonna go like this, you know. Going to draw a line straight down the middle, and that'll help me with lining stuff up later. I'm not doing deep cuts, I'm just doing surface level scratches, really. Maybe like 1/8 of an inch into the foam at most. Yeah. Now, I don't know how much help these toe beans are actually going to be. Because, as you can kind of see, the bottoms of the feet curve up a bit. And the toe beans are going to go right here. So, like, when I'm pushing off, it might actually help. But I feel like the toes aren't going to do much. And it's going to really be the center paw pad, that's going to do a lot for us. I don't think I'm going to be too big of a stickler on, like, perfect placement. Because it's kind of impossible to do, not going to lie. Oh, that is going to look so fucking cute, guys. You see that? That's going to look so fucking cute. This better give me the world's greatest traction. I better be so fast. I don't think it matters which way I turn these, because they're all going to squiggle in different directions. That's fine. Alright. We're going to do this one first. And we're just scoring it up lightly. Although I might need to score it harder than I am. Now, it is a rubber, so I don't even know that scoring it is really necessary, because the E6000 should really adhere to the rubber quite well. But, you know, again, better safe than sorry. So, good lord, Bingle, are you good? If you're hot, you don't have to be in the chair, babe. She's like, no, I must be in the chair. It is required. Bingus. Our toe beans. Now the big thing, the very, very, very important thing with these, aside from scoring, is that I do want the glue to go all the way to the edges. So, oh, I get my pliers out to open this. Where's my paintbrush? I usually have a paintbrush that I don't like that I use. Whew. Yeah, that's E6000, alright. Where is my shitty little paintbrush? Did I stick them back in here? I might have. No, I don't think I did. And seriously, where does one put the paintbrush they torture? Found it. I found the paintbrush I torture. There we go. Alright. Now this. I'm going to start with a small bean. Because it should make life easier. We're actually just gonna a nice big glob. Now we have about 10 minutes without too much rubbing to get this how we like it. Now my big goal here is to get it adhered without too much excess. Right, we want it to go all the way to the edges, but we don't want it splooging out everywhere. That's our big goal. We also don't want Bingus fur. sticking to it. Clean surface. And a good adhesion. Now immediately what I'm noticing is I should have done this before I glued a bunch of fur and shit to the feet paws. Which I will note for future reference, this will be easier to do if I don't have a bunch of fur and shit. It'll be easier to do before the feet paws are actually done. Just gonna come around, clean up any extra squooge. And I wish I kind of had like a clamp or something. Because I don't. And the issue is this takes 10 minutes to cure. To like tackiness. To where it actually stays on its own. So this might be one of those things that I end up doing. Having to sit here for a while doing nothing. While I hold stuff down so it cures properly. And it's on my fingers. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. My favorite. Again, this would be easier if I had... Because I could... If it were just the EVA foam, I could lay it on here. And then, like, put a book or something on top of the beans that I've already done to hold them down. So how's everybody's day going? Aside from Quinn exploding, apparently. Oh, good lord, these do not want to stick. And immediately we're running into issues. Cool. Shit. Okay, we're gonna finish these two, we're gonna cap off the glue, and then we're gonna sit here and we're gonna kind of chat for a bit, I guess, because this is a really big problem. Where's the cap? There it is. Stay! Stop peeling! Unforeseen problems have arisen. See, now the real problem is that this EVA foam has a texture on it. Which means it's a bumpy surface that I am also trying to glue onto. Because, you know, traction. Problem is that does not provide a good surface to try and, god damn it, glue onto. You know what, we're just gonna squish everybody really hard. And if there's parts that are sticking up after 10 minutes when it's cured and gotten tacky, we will add some more and we will glue those parts down. Hopefully. I have E6000 stuck to my fingy. The upside is because it's kind of like a rubber glue, I can pretty much just rub my fingers together. Since it won't cure properly. Because it does take 72 hours to cure. If you get it before it cures, it's pretty easy to rub off. Yeah, this is going to be one of those time-consuming things, I guess, that I hadn't considered. So now I get to sit here and quite literally wait for glue to dry. What is that? What is that? Whose shitty ass shave job? was mine. It was my shitty-ass shape job, but, you know. That's what happens when you got dull clipper blades. You get shitty-ass shape jobs. This is part of what I didn't like of making the ear headbands, and that was the only reason I didn't hate it was because I was making a bunch of them in bulk. So what I ended up doing was I had a bunch of clamps that were set up in such a way that I could prop up the earpieces, and then I used E6000 to glue the magnets in, and then I had to wait 3 days. This is one of those cases where I don't have a clamp, and I can't clamp it anyway, so I just have to sit here and hold them until they won't slide around like crazy anymore. Which again would not have been an issue if I hadn't already put the feet paws together. And I'm not taking them entirely apart just so I have a flat surface to work on, because that was so much work. And so much glue. It's so much E6000 on the inside of these feet paws. Like, there's no real taking these apart to do this. So I'm doing this literally the hardest way possible. If this were like a commission and I knew ahead of time that, hey, I'm doing rubber on the bottom of feet paws, if I had initially, when I made these suits, planned on doing rubber on the feet paws, because I did not initially plan on putting rubber on the bottoms. That was like a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh, that would be a good idea. If I had originally planned for this, then I'd have a flat surface to work on, and this would not be an issue. But alas, here we are. So, we get to wait 5 more minutes. At least, for this to cure. And then hopefully I can... Oh, I hope I don't get stuck to it. Uh-oh. Felt some glue sticking to me. Yep. It's all over my hand. Cool. You know what? At this point, I would much rather there be some seepage and look a little bit messy than not be properly adhered. So, you know, we're taking what we can get at this point and trying to get the E6000 off of my palm. I've got rubber indents in my hand. Hee. Yeah, I think too, if I was doing this, first off, I would be able to pile on textbooks. So I would put a good couple of thick-ass textbooks on top of these, and I could do all of them at once because, you know, my hands are smaller than a textbook. So I wouldn't be struggling to hold down 2 beams. I could just get some thick-ass textbooks and hold down all 4. While I work on the next one and get a couple more thick. We have so many books in this house, like you would not believe. We have, last I counted, 11 bookshelves. I would not be surprised if there's more than 11 in this house. And they are all full to the brim, like, of books. We have a library in our house, essentially. I'm sure if we counted, we would have enough to legally count as a library. Which is both silly and interesting. You know what sounds fun? Furry library. Just like books written by furries, furry media stuff, you know, like Warrior Cats books, things that furries would be into, what's it called, the Argon series or whatever. I never read that one, so I don't remember what it's called. But the one with the dragons, like fiction, non-fiction. Like, I think it'd be really cool, first up, because I'm sure there's furry history books out there. If not, someone needs to make one. Someone needs to make a furry history book. But, like, even, like, animation history books, like, those would count, because a lot of them are anthropomorphic animations. Or, like, drawing books that show you how to draw animals, or draw animations of animals, stuff like that, you know? Like, just, I feel like a furry library, and just all things that could possibly be furry-related, you know? Is it niche? Sure. But, and then it's like you could also get into like the crafting side of furry, right? Like any sort of crafting instructional books, like crochet or a fursuit making guide, right? A book on how to make. You know what? I might do that. I might make a book, how to make a fursuit, the book. I'm pretty sure someone else already has. I think there's a lady out there that has a little instructional guide on how she makes fursuits and stuff, but I mean, I know most people follow tutorials on YouTube these days. It doesn't hurt. I like having book instructionals, especially if it's full of photos. Books full of pictures are the shit. So I might. But also like fictional stories, the furry fiction, you know? I'd be very interested in that. Just in general, in like a library. And then of course, because it is a library, we could host things like meetups and such. Bingus is not enthused by this idea. Oh. Oh god, it's a mess. This whole thing is a mess. This is not going well at all. Now, if I was really smart, I would have done a test run before I scored up the foot paw I'd already completed. But I didn't. Shit. There's glue fucking everywhere. Okay, okay. And the rubber is just peeling right up. This is not going, guys. This is not going. I'm a little upset by that. Let me see if I can't. See, the issue is that this doesn't lay flat, and there's a shoe inside of it, so there's no good way for me to actually compress these consistently. And it doesn't help that the rubber itself is actually trying to curl up. Fuck. Okay. You know, we're gonna try this, alright? We're gonna... Because, like, see, like... What is this thing doing? I did check, and E6000 is supposed to be compatible with this. So I don't... I don't really know what's causing these issues. And what's causing these to curl up the way they are. You know, we're gonna do this, alright? I'm gonna do one bean at a time. And I'm going to wrap it, I think. Is what I'm going to do. This is bean number 2. So a lot of times what I do when I am making like a fursuit head or something that involves glue that I don't want to hold down, I get a lot of this. And we quite literally just tie this bitch down. gonna tie this piece here so that way it stays. No, no, come on, cooperate with me. And the unfortunate part is that there is E6000 over here that is still sticky. So that might be a bitch and a half to peel off later, but... this is at least going to hold the rubber more consistently than my hands will. Long enough for it to cure, hopefully. Is some of this wrapping overkill? Probably. But I would much rather it be properly adhered than not. So, since this did not go to plan, I might call this for stream today, not gonna lie. I thought this was gonna be a lot easier than it currently is. Ta-da! There is a bean under here! Except I don't feel like he's adhered as much as I'd like him to be. Particularly in this one little spot. Right at the tip of the bean. This is probably gonna leave kinks in the fur, but you know, this is what I get for what I did. For my sins. Hello! They are happening. We've run into a hiccup with an idea that I had. I've scored up the bottoms of the feet I'd already done. And if this doesn't work, this means I'm going to take apart the entire shoe and replace the bottom, which is why I'm not going to do it on the next feet until we make sure this actually works. But I ordered some rubber, and my dumbass thought it was a good idea to add them after I'd already completed the feet paws. But we are trying to add some rubber toe beans. And as you can see, the rubber is really trying to curl. Which is not great. Not ideal. But the E6000 is holding to the rubber really well. It's just not holding the rubber to the EVA very well. So, I'm actually gonna... oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that is so weird. Oh, that's funny. The reason there's bubbles on this bean in the glue is because it picked up the texture from the other. That's funny. Now, two things. We know that E6000 adheres to this rubber pretty well. Granted, it's not fully cured, so it's peeling right off. And I do know that it adheres to EVA really well. So, it should adhere really well, assuming it has enough time to actually cure before this shit tries to curl off. Which so far is what it's been doing, is it's curling off before it can fully cure. Which means we're running into a bit of a problem. I'm going to see how well this singular toe bean that's hiding underneath the rainbow mess here, there's a toe bean being held down by all this. I'm going to see how well that holds. I'm going to give it like... it takes 10 minutes for a solid cure, but I don't want to... like, it's not a full cure, but it's enough for it to stay, right, to adhere. These motherfuckers. This stupid little bean. He's not adhering how I like. He's being a problem bean. There we go. We're tying him tightly. Yeah! I think this would work under normal conditions. The real problem is that if it doesn't work, I still have to fix this foot somehow because I already scored the foam. Which I know I know how to do that if that's the case. It's just going to be a lot of tedious work that if I hadn't done this wouldn't have been an issue in the first place. You know, like, it's a whole thing for no reason at that point. That's kind of annoying to me. There we go. But we're going to give this a little bit to cure and hopefully fully solidify onto the toe, onto the actual EVA. I have E6000 all over my hands now. There we go. But if that does work, then I'm going to go ahead and do all of the toe beans for the feet. It'll just be way more tedious than I thought it was going to be because the feet are already completed. Because that means I'm going to have to rewrap for each toe individually and then also for the paw pad and then let them cure for 3 days and then I'll have to do it for the next foot, and each of those waiting times for each of the beans is at least 10 minutes, and I'm honestly probably going to give each of them half an hour because I'd much rather they be a little bit more solidified and sturdy before I take the support off. Yeah. No, I get that. I was hoping to get some cosplay bits together, but money is not my friend at the moment. That is an absolute fucking mood. This is not going how I hoped. As nice as this rubber is great. And I think it could adhere well if I wasn't a dumbass. So we'll see. We'll see how well this adheres to these. Whew, it's not going... It's not going very well. Unfortunately, it is not. It is very much not. Which it doesn't help that this has a texture already, right? Like it's got these ridges and bumps for grip. They just don't grip as nice as I would like. For example, when it's wet and snowy, you know, like Detroit. It's very wet and snowy here at the moment, so I was hoping that the rubber would provide a lot of extra traction, which it would. This shit is so grippy. Like, this is straight up the bottom of a shoe, right? Like, you're gonna get traction with this, especially compared to this stuff. But because I'm trying to glue it, this is not a flat surface, so it's kind of hard to get it to actually adhere to this. Just on the whole. So it's not really going my way. So we're gonna see. We'll see how that turns out. It's been like 5 minutes since I re-adhered that one, so we'll see. A friend of mine brought tickets to see... I can't read from here, I'm blind. To see the Fryren orchestral concert. Ooh, in London. And because my hair is purple, they wanted me to go as Fern. So now I'm going to have to go Fern adjacent. It's been wet and snowy here too. That sounds fun. That sounds expensive also. I haven't had a chance to go to London. Haven't been in the UK. But I've been in a lot of places around Europe. Of course, I don't remember half of it. I was like 5. But, you know. Such is the life of a military brat. My hands are very irritated now from all that E6000 on them. Definitely don't recommend getting glue on your hands. It is spenny. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it is. Trying not to glue this to where I had other E6000 already adhered to this foot paw. So if this doesn't work, then my new concern is that I have used a box cutter to score into the bottom of my foot. Which they aren't deep scores, but if you're walking outside and there's rocks, those rocks will wedge their ways in and cause larger issues as time goes on. I think for a single... What the fuck happened here? There's just a whole ass chunk missing. What the hell? I think I'm just going to have to glue that straight up back together. What the fuck? What the fuck? I don't know. There's just a whole small chunk missing here. I'm going to have to glue that to fill that in. Which I can do that with hot glue and not E6000. But We don't want rocks, so I think if we go to MCFC, it'll be fine, because it's only going to be for a weekend. It might destroy the A-bottoms out the ass, but it'll be easier for me to replace them after the con, rather than trying to rush and replace them before the con, since we only have 2 weeks! Thank God the rubber came in now, and not later. But of course this would be the only one that actually gets fucked up, because the rest of the feet paws haven't been scored, just that one. So fixing 1 foot paw is definitely better than having to fix 4. Friends have also booked a trip to Germany, and I'm here like I'm unemployed. Yep, that is a mood. Gosh, where at in Germany? I used to live in Wiesbaden for a while, and then before that I lived in Frankfurt, but, you could literally say anywhere in Germany. I'd be like, oh, well, that's not too far, because honestly, anywhere in Germany is only a few hours, especially if you're on the Autobahn. But because I miss Legoland Deutschland. Legoland Deutschland was the shit. That's the best version of Legoland. Ah, Berlin. Okay, been a couple times and I love it. Very punk, very queer. Yeah, Berlin is really nice. A lot of Germany is really... A lot of Europe is really nice, just in general. Very pretty. I love the mountains, honestly. All the mountains are so pretty. Which, we get mountains here, too. Like, fucking Michigan has Sugarloaf. I climbed that. That was a good hour-and-a-half hike. And it was really only an hour and a half, because it was March when I went, so it was all snow slush. And very slippy-slidey, and cold. And I slipped and fell, and I got wet pants, because it's wet snow slush. Now I'm freezing cold, and it soaked through my jeans and my leggings, and it was not a good time. So... And then, of course, I grew up in upstate New York, for the most part, so it's all mountains up there, too. Very pretty. I love, especially in the fall, like, all the trees on mountains and shit. It just looks so pretty in the fall. Always. But... Berlin's nice. It's not too far. It's not too far from where I was. It's only on the complete other side of the country. It's like way over there. I don't know though. I'm over here like, oh, I applied for, Renfer. Well, I guess whatever their next theme is for Denver. Which is in Colorado. Which is, I looked into it, it would be 26 hours of driving to get to Denver. But I applied to the dealer's den anyway, because, oh, well, that's only 2 days of driving. Can't fly it, because if I'm vending, I have to bring all my shit, and that's not happening. So it would have to be driven. But, you know, I can't complain too much. Hopefully I get in. I probably won't. I usually don't get into dealer's dens. I have yet to be accepted into a dealer's den at a fur con. I have gotten into a couple of anime cons, though, surprisingly enough. And I think it's just because it's furry, right? You know, like, there are furries that go to anime cons. There's not a lot of furries that vend at anime cons. So, yeah, hopefully it'll be fun if I get in. Definitely would be an experience, because I've never been to Denver, but I've never been west of Chicago. So driving all the way to Colorado will be an experience on its own, much less going to Denver. It will definitely be an adventure, but, shouldn't be too bad. I say I'm used to long trips, lots of driving. I drive from Michigan to Mississippi pretty regularly. I take 75 most of the way. I like highway driving. Highway driving's nice. It's not too bad. Until you're in a city. Fuck Cincinnati. Sorry to everybody from Cincinnati, but oh my god, driving on the highway through Cincinnati is a nightmare. It is 6 lanes of traffic, and it's always bumper to bumper. Like, it's so busy. It feels like you're in California. And it's awful, because there's a bunch of on-ramps. There's this one part where there's so many on-ramps. There's like 3 or 4 in a row getting on the highway, right? And they've got maybe 50 feet to all merge in. And then at the same time, there's also on-ramps on the left. First off, they're coming in on the left, also trying to merge in. And then there's off-ramps both directions. And again, 6 lanes. So even if you're in the middle, there's somebody getting on over here that's trying to get off over there. So they're cutting across all 6 lanes all the time. Oh, it is stressful. I think the only time I've driven through Chicago and it wasn't busy as shit was the one time when I did an overnight drive and I drove the 16 hours all at once. So it was like 2 a.m. and it was still just as busy as like average Detroit traffic. Like Detroit highway traffic when you're going by the airport and stuff. And it was still decently busy. So it was fucking off. I refuse to drive through Cincinnati if I can avoid it. I much prefer to go through Indianapolis. It's a lot more chill. It's only like 4 lanes wide at most, and it's all just straight. Everybody gets on the right, they get off on the right. You pass on the left. It's normal highway bullshit that I can deal with. But the 6 lanes with the ons and offs on both sides is miserable. Yeah, no, we regularly, just on our highways here, we regularly get 3 to 4 lanes. Like, just right... I live right off of a connector to the highway, so if I drive 5 minutes down the road, bam, I'm on the highway. And that goes out to 4 lanes just on the highway itself, and then the on and off ramps. And I'm pretty sure it's 4 lanes pretty much the whole way. Sometimes it'll cut down to 3, but that's pretty average for a highway. You'll have your state highways, which aren't really highways as much as they are just busy roads. Like, we have 81, and we have 46, and 23, and all that, in Michigan. But they're really just straight roads that aren't highways, so you can only do, like, 50 on them. 50 miles per hour, not kilometers or whatever math you got. I don't know where you're at and what math you use. I'm using American units. So, like, 80 kilometers-ish on those roads. The highway here does 70 an hour, which would be like 110, I think, in kilometers. But everybody else is actually doing 80. So, oh, you do use miles per hour. Okay, cool. I know in Germany they use kilometers there everywhere. So it's easy for me to convert 100 to 60 because that's pretty much what it is. 100 kilometers is about 60 miles an hour. That's easy enough. But in Germany, they do kilometers there, so I wasn't sure what you guys got going on in the UK. But yeah, no, like, a lot of the roads around here, like the road I live right off of, I live on a little off street that comes off of a main road, so the main road is 55. Everybody's doing 60. The highway is 70. Everybody's doing minimum 75. If you're doing slower than that, you're going to get rear-ended. Like, it's awful. Even though the speed limit is 70. It did used to be 75, and they changed it. It's all stupid. But then the closer and closer you get to, like, Detroit, Lansing, the faster and faster people go, even though it's tighter turns on the highway. It's stupid. So you'll be in Detroit, and people are flying doing 90 in these tight turns. And it's like, it's so busy here. Why are you going so fast? Like, it's awful. But, like, seeing people regularly doing 80 on the highway is pretty normal. 90 is a bit much, but that's also not uncommon. But most of the highways around here are 70, and most of the main roads are 55. And then your side streets, you know, like when you're in town, shopping centers, stuff like that, are usually like 35, 40. And then your neighborhoods are 25. But that's generally how our streets work around here. But yeah, no, 6 lanes on the highway was miserable. Because again, it's a highway. And granted, through this area, the speed limit has been brought down to 55. Everybody's still trying to do 65, 70. Still. And it's 6 lanes of traffic. Everybody's getting on, getting off. It's awful. God forbid you ever go through at 5 o'clock when everybody's getting out of work or going to dinner or whatever else might be happening. Cincinnati was miserable. I hate driving there. In fact, there was one time. This has nothing to do with Cincinnati, but it was literally right before we got into Cincinnati. Now, this was, I want to say, like 8, 10 o'clock at night, so it's dark out, right? Motorways are 70, dual carriageways are 40, 50, residential areas. Yeah, so that's about what we have going on here. Yeah, so that's pretty similar. But people here speed like crazy everywhere. If you're on a 55, people are doing 60, 65. If you're on a 70, people are doing 80, 90. If you're on a 25, someone's doing 40. Someone's probably still doing 70 just because they're a dumbass. And they're gonna get pulled over or, you know, hit somebody. It just depends on the area you're in, but people here speed like crazy. Never speed through a small town, though. If you hit like a village or like a township and it's got like a residency of less than 2,000 people, there is a local cop who is camping, and you will get pulled over if you're doing more than 3 over. You will. You never speed through a small town here. But, anyway, we're coming up from Mississippi, coming back home. and we're just about to hit Cincinnati because I accidentally took the wrong pass, and instead of going through Indianapolis like I wanted, we're going through Cincinnati. Fuck it. Oh well. We'll survive, I guess. It's pitch black out, and there's probably going to be several accidents because it's Cincinnati. There's always someone in an accident in Cincinnati. And we're coming up, and suddenly it looks like it's daytime ahead of us. Like, it's really fucking bright. There was a semi whose trailer caught fire, and he's pulled over to the right. And I'm like, oh, shit. And when I tell you this thing was burning hot, I mean, I physically... Again, this is like 3 lanes. It might have been 2 lanes, honestly. But 3 or 4 lanes of highway, usually. But I had physically pulled to the complete opposite side of the road. I was now driving in the grass to go around this semi, and I could feel it in the car. I was worried that my tires were going to melt. That's how bright and hot this semi was burning on the side of the road. I don't know what caught on fire. It wasn't the engine. It was the trailer that caught on fire. Hopefully the truck driver's okay. And we're like, holy shit, that's scary. That might blow up later. And then we drive like another 2 miles down the road. We come up over this massive hill, and you see the beautiful Cincinnati skyline. The Cincinnati skyline at night, fucking beautiful. It is very pretty. Still hate driving in Cincinnati. It is a nightmare. Never again do I want to drive in Cincinnati. But I probably will, because it's right there, and that's where the GPS really likes to take us. I can't tell the GPS, please avoid Cincinnati altogether. Never go to Cincinnati. The GPS won't let me, but it is what it is. But I'm very excited to be going back down to Detroit because we are going to be in Detroit for this con. MCFC is in Detroit. Specifically, they're hosting it at the Renaissance Center, which, if you don't know where that is actually directly next to the plaza and all the statues and stuff that they show in Detroit Become Human. So I'm quite literally going to be like a 20-minute bus ride from Belle Isle, where, if you've seen the game, of course you've seen the game, where the CyberLife headquarters are in game, which of course obviously it's not real, so instead there's an aquarium there that's free that I want to go to because fishies. But we will be there, and we'll be going to the plaza, and we'll be getting fun pictures, hopefully. It's gonna be really fun. And of course there's a bunch of historical markers and stuff that we want to hit in the area too, because the fiance's a nerd and he's a big history buff. So we gotta go look at the historical markers, you know? Like, we gotta go to the statues, we gotta go down the streets and whatnot. So we'll be we will be in Detroit Become Human, which will be fun, especially with the fact that it's in suit, which is why I want to get these done in time for the con, you know? It'll be so cool for them to debut at the con that is in Detroit as Detroit Become Human suits, you know? How long has it been? It's been like 10 minutes. Damn it. I'm gonna wait for it to hit like 3. Oh no, I guess it's been more than 10 minutes. We got like 3 minutes, and then I'm gonna pop this off and see how our rubber's doing, and we'll go from there. But like generally speaking, I don't mind traveling. So I think getting to Denver would be fun. Something I look forward to. Hopefully I get accepted. Fingers crossed. I'm also planning on maybe hitting MFF this year, which is in Chicago. I've been to MFF before, a couple of years ago. I wasn't a big fan of the con itself. I did not really enjoy it, but most of that was because it was my first con ever. So as someone who had never been to a con before, I went to one of the biggest cons in the world, one of the biggest furry cons in the world. That was my mistake. But there seems to be a consistent issue with a lack of signage and just the sky bridges. The sky bridges are fucking awful. If you ever go to MFF, do not take the sky bridges. Walk outside, leave the building, walk around the block, and go to the other building. It's a 20-minute walk to take the sky bridges a block over. Literally, like, less than a quarter mile. And it takes 20 minutes. It's stupid. You're better off just going out of the building, walking outside in the cold, and walking across the street than you are taking the sky bridges. Because it's busy, it's packed, it's hot and cold at the same time. It's a nightmare. But there was so little signage, and like what signage there was hard to understand. And, like, a lot of the panels that were happening in rooms, like, they had these nice little digital signs on these rooms, but the font is so small, you gotta walk up to every single door just to freaking read it, especially if you're in suit. So finding panels was hard, stuff was scattered everywhere, signage was non-existent. I kept losing the dealer's den, which is in the convention center, but everything else is in the hotel, which is separate from the convention center. It was not great. I was not a fan. But again, it was my first ever con, so most of that was my fault. That is my only gripe, is their lack of signage. Everything else, I'd argue, went pretty well for a con. Like, I had fun. I still had a lot of fun at MFF. I did get really sick. There was definitely... That's probably another reason not to go through the sky bridges at MFF, is because there was people there that actually had counters for the CO2 levels that they took into the... I think I still have a photo of that on my phone. Like, I took a screenshot. Someone got a count on the CO2 levels in the sky bridges in MFF the year I went. And it was, like, dangerous levels. Like, it was straight up, like, OSHA violation levels of CO2. I apparently don't have the picture anymore, so I can't tell you what the exact number was. But, like, the counter was in the red. They were like, get the fuck out of here. More than 5 minutes exposure will cause toxicity. And I was like, and I'm standing in there for half an hour with my service dog walking through. No wonder I feel like shit every time I go through the tunnel. So, I don't recommend the sky bridges. For that con specifically. I don't know how true that is for cons as a whole, but definitely not at MFF. And just go outside. Be cold. Being cold will be better for you. Bingus had a blast. She got to go. That was when she was still working. So I do have photos of her at MFF. We got lucky enough that we got to go to I forget what they called the panel. It was like the Two Old Furries panel or whatever. And it was Cy Sable and his husband talking about, fandom history and stuff. Just before Mark Molino passed, which is very sad. Still miss him. I got lucky enough to meet them, see them in person. Which, like, that kind of hit really hard when that happened. Because, like, I haven't been in the fandom since the beginning. I'm not old enough to have been in the fandom since the beginning, But to finally meet the quote-unquote fathers of the fandom, and then hear only a couple months later that one of them ended up passing away from terminal illness, it's still heartbreaking. And despite the fact that, like, I didn't know him on a personal level, like, I saw him once at a con, I've seen interviews with him, stuff like that, like, I know of him, I don't know him, but it's just it's heartbreaking. It is. And despite not knowing him, I miss him very much, which for me is odd, because I've had grandparents pass away that I did know personally, and that never hurt as much. It's very odd. I'm a weird person when it comes to people dying, though, and death as a whole. Like, I had a parakeet that was unfortunately attacked by my grandmother's puppy in 2010. And I remember the day. It was March 31st of 2010 was the day he passed away. And that date has stuck with me since then. I was 10 years old at the time. Maybe not even. I might have been 9. I don't know how old I was. I was a child, though. I was a young child when Pepper died. And that was a parakeet. That was a budgie. That was just a pet bird that I had. And he quite literally died in my hands, and I was heartbroken. Like, I cried, I screamed, I yelled at the dog, because it wasn't even my dog. It wasn't even my fault. The dog wasn't supposed to be in my room. There was a baby gate for a reason. And yet, stuff happened and the bird died. And it took until after I graduated high school and I was in college, there was just one night where I remembered it, and I just started bawling, crying. Like, fucking grieving the bird that I had maybe cried about for 20 minutes when I was 10 because, well, I was mad. You know, it wasn't really grieving, it was just anger because this puppy had essentially used my bird as a squeaky toy when it shouldn't have even been possible in the first place. Because the bird was in my room and the puppy wasn't supposed to be in my room. There was a baby gate. The puppy was placed in my room without my knowledge. Because I was 10, I was busy on the computer playing games. I was not paying attention. And now as an adult, it was very, like, it was rough, you know? And it took me a good 8-10 years before I sat down and actually grieved my dead pet, you know? But I've had grandparents pass that I knew, and it was like, oh, shit, they died. That sucks, I get. Like, that's pretty much, straight up like that, pretty much been my reaction to family members dying. So it's very interesting to me that a man who I didn't know personally, and I only knew of, who essentially birthed my career, you know, area of career, that hurts more, you know? That's always been interesting to me. And it's very sad, and I still miss him, despite not knowing him. But grief is weird in that way, isn't it? Life is weird in that way. But MFF was a fun con when I went. This was back in 2023, I believe, if I remember right, if I know my years. So I'd be very excited to get into the dealer's den there if I can. Will I? Probably not. Do I still hope? Yeah, of course. I would love to vend there. It'd be dope. I'd love to vend at a lot of cons. Alright. Now we do have... It is on, but we do still have a bit of peeling here, which I am not a fan of. God damn it! That is much better adhesion than we had initially. So I'm going to put more... Where's my brush? There it is. I'd much rather it seeps out from underneath the toe bean and has too much glue than not properly here. I'm going to try my damnedest to get these fuckers to stick because I really want this to work. And then before I rewrap it, I'm going to actually put the first toe bean, this one, on as well. And I'm just going to absolutely slather this guy. With E6000. Just an ass load. Because again, I would much rather it sklooge out and I have to clean that up than have it not adhere properly again. Because, quite frankly, I'm tired of having to fight these to get them to work. I'm just kind of moving the glue to where I feel like it needs it. Now, I'm going to rewrap it again. Hello, hello, hello! How are you doing? We are struggle busing today. I don't know about you, but I am struggle busing big time with this. We are trying to use E6000 to glue some rubber beans onto some already finished feet paws, so it is not going in our favor, unfortunately. Like at all. Struggle busting real hard. but we're gonna do our best. There we go. It would also help if I wasn't trying to squeeze what is essentially a pillow to create pressure, because it is a pillow. If I was smart, I would unstuff these. But unfortunately, I'm a dumbass, so we get what we get. And we get a dumbass job. Alright, there's that. And I'm going to rewrap that second toe bean as well, to try and get it to cooperate with us. Oh, sorry, Bengal, it's wrapped around your face. Are you good, Bengal? She's just accepted it. She's like, yeah, there's string on my face. This is fine. There we go. Which, I mean, if this is what I have to do to get these to stick, that's fine by me. I do not mind having to be patient. Maybe watch a little... Oops, sorry. Watch a little YouTube while I wrap stuff. You know? That is fine by me if that's the case. There we go. And now we have our freshly squeezed feet. Again, if I was smart, I would have done all this before I finished the feet paws, but I'm not smart, and I did not do this before I finished the feet paws. So we're working with what we got. And the unfortunate thing is I do have all these beans that I cut out for 2 sets of feet paws, so yeah. The thing is I do have this foam, which is flat, that I know this would adhere much better to. Because currently our big issue, right, is that it doesn't want to adhere to this, because it's bumpy, it's textured, it's trying to get on my suit. Yup. That sounds about right. I don't want to switch this out for that foam, though, just to do rubber beans, because I don't know how much better, you know, like comparatively, right? Because the whole thing is this does give some traction, right? So if I do this with some rubber beans, boom, double traction. Traction squared. That's the idea anyway, right? It's like I'll have points that have better traction so I can run in suit, but overall for walking, this is still decent, you know? Whereas if I do that, the flat stuff that's above me, that doesn't have this texture, first off, very expensive EVA. So fucking expensive to use that foam. I could do that, but then I would only have the points of rubber for traction, and none of the rest of this would have any traction. So it's like, I don't know if that would actually be good. Because, like, this did come in a sheet. In a large sheet of rubber. This is about half of what I originally had. So it was like this big. But I could only fit maybe 1 foot paw per sheet, and then I'd have a bunch of leftover rubber texture that I don't want. That's the hard part, is finding sheets that were actually big enough. Like, it's pretty much impossible to get a sheet of rubber that is long enough to realistically fit this without having a shit ton of waste. Because, like, this sheet was $25 for the sheet. And if I can do just the beans, I can fit about 3 pairs per sheet, which makes it fairly cheap to do. But if I do the entire foot, I can fit about 1 foot per sheet. So I would need 2 sheets. It means it would cost $50 in materials alone just to do rubber bottoms. Which, I mean, is fine if people want to pay that. But I don't know how realistic that is. And that's assuming we could adhere it to the EVA that I already use. This EVA is significantly cheaper than the flat sheet EVA because I can buy this in bulk. The flat sheet EVA I can only buy in a large roll, and I can't buy multiple rolls for cheaper. I don't have that option for that, unfortunately. This I can buy, you know, big old 2x2 squares, fit multiple pairs of feet on each one, and then, you know, I can buy 24 of those squares for like $50. So this is a lot cheaper than the super dense but thinner flat EVA that doesn't have the texture, which I feel like I would have to use if I was going to do a full sheet of rubber on the bottoms, which means it really doesn't cost $50 in materials. It costs probably closer to $80. I'd have to do the math, which is a lot in materials. And then there's still the extra work of having to glue on the rubber, wait 3 days for it to fully cure, and all that. So, and I don't know how durable this really is. I feel like if it was the entire foot, it would be pretty durable. But for beans, I don't know how durable the beans are, which is why we're trying to put them on my suits. Because if I could do it on my personal suits, and they hold up well, then I could realistically believe that they would hold up well for commissions. But someone didn't think about it before they made their feet paws, so now we're having to retroactively add them. And it's a lot harder than if we just had the flat EVA to glue the rubber on top of, because now the EVA is all curvy and shit, and you know? It's a whole thing. I'm not happy about it. And I already scored this EVA, so if it doesn't work, then I'm gonna have to replace the bottom on this particular foot. But that's how today is going. Today is going. But we do have our feet paws. We are also still waiting on clippers to come in, because I do still have to trim the bottoms of my feet, unfortunately. Yep, hindsight ideas, exactly. It was really on a whim. I was like, oh, that'd be really cool. And now I'm sitting here doing it, and I'm like, oh, this is so fucking awful right now. Because we've also had the issue we've discovered. When you put E6000 on the back of this rubber, it makes the rubber want to curl. So then you got this piece that does not want to lay flat on a surface that's already not flat. And it actually actively wants to curl away from it, which is a problem. So we'll see. I tried adding a little bit more to this piece, so hopefully that helps it hold. And I glued the ever-loving shit out of this one. It might look messy, right? I don't care if it looks messy, because I feel like that's more of an issue of it being a hindsight idea than an issue of actual technical doability. And honestly, I could probably peel off excess later. That might still be a possibility. I've got the tools for it. I have little scrapey boys that I can... No little excess glue. I'd rather there be excess glue than not enough glue, right? Like, we would rather it actually be held on really well with a lot of E6000 than... Oh, there's only a little tiny dot, and then this little piece has a flippy flap here, so something can get on there and go... And then it's gone! Like, we would hate that. So... Yeah, that's what we got going today. Who the fuck are you? And what have you done? Son of a bitch, I put the wrong toe on. This is toe 2 and 3? What? That can't be right. Did I score you? Oh, shit. Well, I already got my beans out of place. Cool. The difference between 1 and 2 is minimal, but they are different shaped beans. So, whoopsies. Get over here, you're not number 3. I've got bean numbers 2 and 3 on spots 1 and 2. And I'm not even sure if 2 is on spot 2. It might be on spot 1. 2 and 3 are interchangeable, 1 and 4 are interchangeable. But you can't swap the 1s and 4s with the 2s and 3s. Not that it really matters, because it's not like it changes anything. It's more just me being finicky, because they are technically different shaped beans. So we're going to live with it. We're going to say fuck it. As long as they're on there, that's all I care about at this point. Because, duh. That is true. I could shave with scissors. So we have 2 weeks until the con. The issue is I also have a couple crotch pieces for a bodysuit that I need to shave. And that I'm definitely not doing with scissors. Bottoms of the feet I could do with scissors. I sent my clipper blades out to be sharpened through the mail. So they're on their way back. They have been sharpened. I have the tracking for it. They're currently in Indianapolis. So hopefully they should be here in the next couple of days. And then I'll be able to shave the bottoms. And I'll be able to shave the fursuit. And hopefully finish that bodysuit. Should only hopefully take me a couple days to do the bodysuit. So we're not super crunched on time. But we're kind of crunched on time. Because I already have the first bodysuit's finished. The RK800 is done. The one that's down in the corner right now, the white one, he's in pieces. He's all over the floor. He has exploded. We've got... Here, I can show you kind of what I have together. So, this is a leg piece, right? Nice leg piece. This is our thigh. This is our ankle, right? Problem is this is like the inner part of the leg, right? This curve here is what needs the crotch piece. I almost died. Wait a minute. If you're 3, then who is it? What the fuck? Well, now I'm just really confused. I don't know who the fuck I glued down. Anyway. Been around and listening, just been slathering myself in oat body butter because my skin is yikes. Yeah, my fiance's skin is the same way. He dries out so much in the winter. I'm over here telling him to fucking lotion all the time. And he looks like a lizard. He just turns into a lizard in the winter, and it's so awful. It just breaks out in like a rash. But it's just dry skin. Anything other than the bottom of the feet, yeah, you need clippers. Yeah. So, we're just gonna wait. But we got the legs together. We got these halves done. We have our butt piece together. Essentially, okay. So. This is the back panel for the suit, right? This is what's going to go on the back. And this is like the shoulder, right? I can't do the side pieces until I have the shoulders sewn together so I can sew the front and the back together, right? To do the sides in between. But I can't do the front. I have some of the front. I have like the zipper section done. But as you can see on the reference sheet, there's these little white triangles, right? And I can't sew in those triangles. Well, I can't sew the shoulders until I have the wider patch of color on the sides done. And I can't do those until the triangles are sewn in. And I can't sew the triangles in because there's a seam there that overlaps between the torso and the legs because of how thigh padding works. So I can't sew the triangle in until the thigh padding's sewn on. I can't sew the thigh padding on because I don't have the crotch section sewn to it yet. And I can't sew the crotch section until it's shaved. So first I have to shave the crotch, sew it to the legs, sew the legs to the body, sew the triangles to that, and then sew the side panel so I can sew the shoulders together. Before I can sew the sides. And then I can sew the arms and the legs. But I can't sew any of that until I have the crotch pieces done. So we're kinda stuck. It's just for my scoliosis and moving boxes yesterday. Well, you didn't say you were moving boxes. Glad you're doing better. Well, I guess you're not really doing better. But glad you got it checked and it's nothing super serious. That's good. That's good. Do some ibuprofens about it, maybe, if you haven't already. Hopefully, did they give you anything? I would hope they did. But this is America and doctors suck. But yeah, so we're kind of in waiting mode for things to happen. But the upside is pretty much everything's done except for the bodysuit. And the bodysuit should not take me long at all to stitch together. It should take me a couple days. So, it might be last minute, but we have time to get it done in time for the con. Oh, big stretch! Oh, big yawn, too. Hello, big mans. How are you doing? Hello. Oh, big stretch. Okay. Good job. They did not, but they did recommend ibuprofen. Well, that's good. Take some ibuprofen then. Hello, baby man. Baby man's got a haircut today. He no longer has his racing stripe. And also, I fucked up a little bit and I shaved him a little short. That was my whoopsie. Say, yeah, huh? I fucked up a little bit and I shaved you short in a spot. So he's got like a bald spot right on his shoulder. That was my bad. But we were having issues with his hair, which I kind of needed to go short for that spot anyway. Underneath his collar, right? Because he wears a martingale, so it's loose and it turns and then it pulls snug. So there's a lot of friction right where his collar sits. Oh, a big yawn. Yeah. So with all the long poofy hair all the way down his back, he was getting a lot of mats, like, constantly. It didn't matter that I brushed him every day or every other day, you know, with fucking whatever. He was getting tons of mats where his collar sat. And I got sick and tired of having to demat him. It took us forever to brush him out. You would think, like, they tell you, oh, mats don't happen every day. I'm not talking like he's pelted, right? Like, I'm not talking that he's got insane clumps. But he's got a lot of webbing going on, which is the start of a mat. And even that is a pain in the ass to brush out and comb out. So I just wasn't dealing with it. So we've cut his running stripe off, and now his mohawk ends just above his collar. So stop licking yourself, it's gross. Yucky. It sucks, but it is what it is. You know, we might grow his mohawk back out and give him like a short mohawk. Yeah, your short racing stripe. Because it's like his thing, you know, I like doing that on him. That kind of like fits his vibe. Speedy, racy little man. But also a pony cut ain't bad. Time to drive home, have fun. Yes. That's the thing, like you hear on, like everybody online is like, oh, your poodle shouldn't be matting if you're brushing. You shouldn't be matting at all if you're brushing. I was like, I'm sorry, but this man, first off, he's not even 2 yet. He's still a puppy. So, some of him is still puppy coat. Most of him is grown-up coat. But some of him is still his puppy coat. So, he tangles like crazy just to begin with. But he's also a fucking psychopath. And it's winter here. So, the snow is getting him wet, and then he curls, and then he mats. And he just smears on everything. Like, he's a mess. I swear to God, he goes out of his way to try and tangle up his coat as much as possible. You're a butt. Yes, you are. He's my butt, though. He's my little butthole. You're good, too, Bingus. We also have Bingus, but she's a lab mix, so we don't gotta do shit with her but give her a bath every once in a while, and a de-shedding in the spring. Yeah. Say, Yoko girl. Yoko baby. Always good doggos, but... I think we're gonna wait for, like, another 5-ish minutes, and then I'll unwrap this and see where we're at here, because that would put us at about 25-30 minutes for curing. Technically, on the packaging of E6000, if you can read the tiny font, somewhere, the directions that I have folded up, it says it takes 3 days to cure, 72 hours to cure, fully, but it takes 10 minutes to solidify, right? So it won't be a sturdy cure, but it'll be enough that it'll hold itself, right? So our current plan is to wait half an hour, because I should give it a little extra time to solidify a bit better. And we'll see where we're at. And if this is working well, we'll do the next 2 beans and tie those fuckers on. We're going to have to do them one by one, but, you know. We'll tie those fuckers on, we'll do the big pad, and we'll do them individually. And we'll just have to do that over and over, which means it's going to take us 16 times 3? 15 times 3 is 45. Hold on. We're going to do math. Hold on. 16 beans times 30 minutes a bean. 780 minutes. So 780 minutes divided by 60. It's only going to take us 13 hours. Only 13 hours. And that's just for the toes. That doesn't even include, like, the big beans. Which, there's only 4 of those, so that's, like, another 2 hours. So it's only going to take us 15 hours of actual, you know, time just to get all the beans on. And then a total of, like, 3-4, probably, like, 4 days. Because let's be honest, we're not doing it all in one day. That's just not going to happen. Although... Okay, but see, here's what we don't account for. Being smart. Because I don't have to sit here and wait for this, right? I can do other stuff. But if this does work, and I decide to do it for all the feet, who's to say I don't glue on a bean on this foot? And then glue on a bean on this foot? And then glue on... That's 4 beans at once. That cuts our bean time in, like, a quarter. So, 5 total per foot times 30. 5 times 3, that's 150 minutes. Whatever that is in hours. That's not a lot of hours, right? That's like 10. No, that's not how math works. Oh, I'm stupid. Alright, we got 5 times 30 is 150. Right, that's right, divided by 60. 2.5, yeah, that's 2.5. That's like a long movie. I could just watch a long movie. A long movie. And this one's already halfway done. But that assumes, and then of course we still have to wait the 3 days, so. For stuff and things to happen. But sorry, I got people talking. Chats are happening. But yeah, so it's only going to take several days, which, I mean, it's E6000. It takes 3 days to cure. I already expected it to take me a few days. I am not worried about it. But, and we have 2 weeks. So really, this is just us finding out, does this work at all? Which, we've waited long enough. We can now unravel him. And hopefully he looks like handsome Squidward. We unravel the bandages. Your surgery was a success. Now it's just a matter of healing. I'm going to have to brush these out so well, because they're definitely going to leave lines in the fur from where this shit was wrapped. Which, that's the thing, too. I shouldn't have to hold them down for them to finish curing. I just have to, you know, not let gravity fuck them up. Oh, that's promising. That's less promising. Damn. What about you? How are you feeling? And this one is actually physically tied, so we have to... There we go. I mean, it's on there. It is physically on the bottom of the foot. Yes, exactly. Brushing is a post-action. Because, like, you could see all of these lines that are kinking in the fur. But, honestly, it might just take a little bit of an extra spritzing to get those out. When we go to brush it later. We do have some fur trying to stick to the E6000 around the edges. We do have a lot of splooging going on with our E6000. But again, nothing I can't scrape the excess off. Again, I think this is just an issue of this being a textured surface. Because it is on there. It is physically on there, but there are gaps. Which I am not a fan of. To be fair, I did think this rubber was going to be thinner than it is. A bit more flexible than it. Because, like, this is a fairly flexible rubber. But ultimately, it's a good couple millimeters thick. And even with the tread, there's parts where it's still decently thick. Like, I thought it was going to be, like, cardstock thickness where the tread was thinnest, you know. A lot more flexible than it is. Which is unfortunate. But... see, because then we have... My issue is specifically with spots. I don't know if you can see that. There's a gap right here on the toe. Because spots like that leave room for pebbles. And I don't know that that's ideal for suits in general. You know, like, I don't know. Because even if this is really sturdy, if I step on something and something gets stuck in it, it's going to rip it right off, right? At the very least, it's going to rip off the foam. But it's definitely going to rip off the rubber. You know, like, it's not... I don't think that's going to be durable. And quite frankly, it just looks like shit. I could choose to finish off this one foot and test the traction durability on these. And if they are shit, then I just still have to replace the rubber later on. But if they're not, then I could add them. But yeah, no, my big issue is that there's these spots where there's... Like, I shouldn't be able to flip up this whole edge here because there's... Yeah, no, this just isn't working. Which is unfortunate. Because that's definitely just gonna get ripped right off. I think it could work well on EVA that isn't textured. Does not work well on this though. So, oh, would you fuck off? Hello. Oh, we're gonna peel off the excess glue. Very unfortunate, because even, like, don't get me wrong, E6000 is strong. It is, however, not above Mother Nature's will. E6000 cannot deny physics. Cannot defy them. So we'll just go to the con with our shitty-looking little Peets. And then when we get back, I might replace the bottoms on these with fresh bottoms if they end up getting some decent wear and tear on them. Upside, this is the only foot that'll need a fresh bottom, so... Yeah, no, I do not like that gapping. Sounds were happening and I got concerned. Upside, the E6000 is still raw enough that I could just rub it right off like any other glue. I think even if it was fully cured, it would not be strong enough to hold that on. Despite its best efforts. And that was just something I hadn't considered, was that it wouldn't be able to mold over the already textured foam. I do think, though, if I made bottoms with... this foam. This is the same foam that I use to make my masks. It is flat, it has no texture. So I think if I made bottoms with this and adhered these flat on here, because they would absolutely be able to do that, that would work great. I just don't know that it would be any better traction than a normal textured EVA, right? Because like these provide really good grip. But then the rest of the foot's going to be slippery. So you'd only have traction on certain points of your foot paw, you know? Which is unfortunate. But I could always do a test, I suppose. I could always test a foot paw. And then, of course, I could also... I'm going to look into finding full rubber sheets that are larger than what I was given. Because technically, what I bought, right, was this. This is about half the sheet that I initially bought, because I cut it up for all this. My feet paws are about this big. Now, this is for my digi-feets. So they don't really fit lengthwise, right? I'd have to tilt them and do this whole thing. And then I could fit maybe one pair per sheet if I'm lucky. In fact... I don't really know. I'm gonna have to measure it out and find out. Because maybe I could fit one whole pair. Because if I could do this, right, do the entire bottom and glue it onto the flat EVA, I think that would be much more durable. We would run into a lot less issues with traction and stuff like that. But then I have all of this waste rubber, right? And that's what I'm really trying to avoid, is all of the waste rubber. Which, if that doesn't work, I mean, already I'm wasting all of this. If I tilt it this way, I could fit a single paw. So if this does work, then it won't be a waste. But, yeah. we'll see. I'll get the exact measurement of what the sheet originally was, and I'll do the math, and I'll see if it's something I could realistically do. Because I do think the extra traction would be nice. I do. I really wish I could do it on these feet paws. But alas, fuck me. Fuck me and everything I've ever wanted in life. Plus, then we wouldn't have the raw edges because we'd be able to glue the fur all the way down to this edge. I don't think it would adhere. Hot glue would adhere too well to the rubber itself. But, you know, it wouldn't be such a raw edge on the bottom, which would be nice. We'll see. That'll definitely be something I look into. I have to do a lot of math for that, though. Oh, and this... It's so weird. It's kind of like a gusher peeling. Because like, there's thick spots where like the top outer layer is kind of like rubbery, hard glue. And then... Exactly. How can I do the most with little waste? Exactly. Like, I hate weight. Like, already with this, you know, I've got these little scraps. But these little scraps is so much better than wasting a chunk that's the size of this fucking paw bean, you know? So, now I have the unfortunate issue of, well, I already cut out all these paw beans because I thought it was going to work, and I did not plan ahead very well. Whoopsies. So not only is that a technical waste, that's also a financial waste, because I spent a lot of money on that rubber. So I will keep these pieces. They might work good as like little decorative pieces if anybody has a car themed fursona or like a rubber, like something that wants like a tire texture, you know. These will probably make some really cute like little freckles sewn on or something, like the little muzzle dots from the whiskers, the whisker dots. I could cut these up into little tiny whisker dots with texture. See, like I don't want to waste them, you know. So it's like, what if I could just put them on a fursuit? Make it really fun, because I do believe that I could hand sew through this. I don't think my machine would be too happy about it, but I do think I could hand sew. So we'll do that. I'll save these. I'll make a little baggie full of these little rubber pieces. Because again, I hate to waste them. And at the very least, I can fit a single foot on what's left of the rest of the sheet I bought. I would prefer if I could find a sheet that is longer than my feet paws, because then I can line them up vertically down the sheet and flip them to waste even less. Because on this sheet, I do have to take the feet paw pattern and go like this to make it fit, which just kind of sucks. But that's future me's problem. We'll figure it out. I do think it would work, though. So I'm going to do like a little mini test with one of these beans, I think, on the flat EVA. I'll take one of these beans and I'll glue it on the flat EVA, compress it with a book, and we'll see. I mean, because like this EVA is holding really good to this rubber, even though it's not fully cured yet. And I know EVA holds really well to E6000 anyway. This E6000 is holding really well to the rubber, I should say. And this is after like 10-20 minutes of curing. Like, that's not a lot. Oh, this is a 1. What the fuck? And this is a 2. Okay. I had the right toe beans the whole time. So actually, I'll do that right now. I will steal a little scrappy scrap tester piece of foam, and then I'm just gonna score it up real good. And like I said, this foam is not particularly affordable for me to buy. But of course, you know, if someone really wants rubber on the bottom of their feet, it just means I might have to charge a bit extra. If I was just doing the beans like I had planned, I was originally, the math was looking like I would have to charge $50 for rubber bottoms, for rubber toe beans. But for full rubber bottoms, it's looking more like closer to $100-$150 for full rubber bottoms, because it's going to be the more expensive EVA foam and the full sheet of rubber versus, you know, not that. Oh yeah, this already is wanting to sit much nicer for me. It still wants to curl up, so I need something to compress it with, but, you know. I don't know, that's enough compression. Hold on. Hold on, I got this, guys. Hold on. Is that enough? I need something to, like, balance this end of the books and stuff. There we go. Is that better? Yeah! So, I'm going to let that sit until I need my desk again, which will probably be when the clipper blades come in a couple days. And by then it should be cured plenty, and I'll be able to actually do a full-scale test on how well the rubber actually adheres to foam, just in general. I'm going to save these little scraps, though, because, again, fun textures. Who knows? Because these will actually be useful. Worst case scenario, I make a pre-made that has rubber detailing. What if these were finger beans? What if I put these on the paws? The paw beans. I could sew these into paws. I could. It would have to probably be hand sewn. I don't know that my sewing machine would be very happy to stitch through a layer of fur and a layer of rubber. Maybe. What do I know? I think that'd be very cute for the fingy beans, though. These, I don't know, would my hand paws? I might be able to cut these into the hand paw bean shape. Just cut off whatever excess there is to make them look nicer. And then stitch those on instead. Ooh. I'm having ideas, guys. I'm about to make a Cars-themed fursuit. Who wants a Lightning McQueen fursuit? Guys. I'm getting ideas. This is a problem. I'm not allowed to have ideas. So, I'm going to give us a raid. Raidy. Raid. And then we'll skedaddle on our way. Ooh, who wants to look at ceramics? We're gonna pop over to this lady who... Oh, she got a bunny! I think that was a bunny. It might have been a cat. I wasn't looking very hard. We're gonna go see what Play in the Mud is up to. They're playing in the mud, obviously. And then I will see you guys next time I stream. Eventually. Not this weekend. Probably next week. So yeah. Bye, guys!